I would say so. I got my first job when I came to America.
When you look at your journey from, again, Dinguiraye to serving in the U.S. Army and becoming a police officer, right? What are you most proud of?
I'm very proud that I'm able to provide for my family. I have two little sisters that go to school in Guinea right now.
As you're sitting here right now,
Yeah,
what advice would you give to your young self?
that's a great question.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Voices and Journeys. Today's guest is Alpha Tal. Alpha Tal comes from a small village in Guinea called Dinguiraye. He immigrated to the United States in 2017, where he later joined the U.S. Army and served as a paratrooper, then transitioned into law enforcement. He joined the police department in Washington, D.C. Hey, Alpha.
Hey Halima, how you doing?
Doing good.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Voices and Journeys.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Thank you for being a guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Alpha?
I think you did good introducing me. Just like you said, my name is Alpha Amadou Tal. I was born and raised in Dinguiraye, Guinea. I moved to the United States in 2017. A year after I got here, I started my process to join the military. I joined the military a year after, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's when I started the process in 2018.
Okay.
So I joined the U.S. Army in 2019. July 2019, that's when I joined, yes. And then I served as a paratrooper assigned to the 82nd Urban Division in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I did 3.5 years on active duty, and then I transitioned to the Maryland National Guard, where I also served for 3.5 years. And then at the same time, when I was in the National Guard, I was serving as a police officer of the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington, D.C.
Interesting career.
Yeah, thank you.
Journey.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alright, Tal. So, I'm gonna go ahead and start asking you my questions. We'll dive into your journey, listen to your story, and hopefully we can help motivate somebody else that's out there.
Sounds good to me.
So why didn't you go ahead and tell me about your first months in America? What was that like? What were the challenges that you faced?
My first month in America, I wouldn't say it was a shocking one because I don't have no other country to compare it to besides Guinea. Everything I was seeing was nice to me, First day I got here, got picked up at the airport in New York City. So the beautiful city, big buildings and all of that, I was excited. So, but I would say the first month, the most challenging part of the first month was probably me not speaking English and not be able to really talk to people outside of my family or other, friends that speak the same language as I do. So I would say that was
relate to that.
Yeah, that was like the biggest challenge, Yeah.
So that is an interesting challenge. We all, I think, most of us have been through that. That's been a challenge. I can remember my early days where even going on the subway was a struggle because I'm like, what if I don't understand what they're saying and I miss my stop?
Right.
Many of us immigrants, we start by working different jobs to build our foundation, to find ourselves in a new country. How did those early experiences shape your journey?
I would say so. I got my first job when I came to America. Never worked in Guinea, so didn't know what to expect at a job, right?
Right.
So I started working at Wendy's first. I didn't speak no English, so I wasn't able to be on the grill or be on the floor to serve customers. So I was usually in the back, washing dishes and mopping the floor and all of that. So I did that. It was a good experience. I would say, and that like kind of shaped me into knowing what is work like. You know what I'm saying? So what is it like to be on the clock? What is it like to get up like early if I have to work early in the morning, or to stay up late if I have to close?
Yeah.
So that was like my first time experiencing something like that. I don't think it was hard to adapt to it because I was motivated.
You have to do it
I had to do it. If I had to do it again, I would do it. It was just something that I had to do at the time. Yeah.
Nice. You mentioned that you joined the US. You started your process to join the army a year after you came to America. That's, I would say, a little bit too, not too early for someone who's new in the country. But what made you think of joining the military that early in your journey?
So when I first had my visa back in Guinea, I came back from Senegal. So I sat down with my uncle that I used to live with. I asked him questions about what does he think I should do when I come to the US.
Oh.
So he was giving me ideas. I told him that I wanted to go to school, and he made it known to me that school is expensive over here, and you have to really like work hard in order to go to school. He mentioned there's some financial aid you can get, but that's not really going to cover like your whole tuitions and fees or whatever you have to pay to go to school. So in the mix of talking about the possibilities of things that I can get into when I come to the US, he told me he knows like a few people from Guinea and some other African countries that serve in the United States in the United States Army, or he said the Army, but at that time I think he meant the military. So he told me that. I thought about it, and it wasn't really like something that I wanted to do, but being like wearing like a uniform was kind of interesting to me because I was into that ever since I was like a kid. So I always loved like wearing police uniforms or camouflage, like military style uniform.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I liked that. When he mentioned that to me, that kind of like resonated, and
Clicked in your head.
yes, it did. So that's how when I came here, went to Wendy's, and then I went to Walmart. I was like, man, these jobs, this is not it. This is not what I'm looking for. So I was looking for something like very good, something like structured.
Something meaningful.
Something. Say what?
Meaningful.
Yeah, exactly. So something meaningful. So I decided to join the U.S. Army when I thought about our conversation.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Your uncle, was he in America before? Did he live here, or did he just know things through having friends and people around here?
Yeah, he just knew. Like he's been here, but he was just visiting. Like he never lived in the U.S., but he lived in Canada. But he mainly lives in Guinea.
That's very interesting. That's
Yes.
very nice to have somebody like that.
Right.
Because you came here knowing, okay, I might do this, I might do that, but I can do this.
Right. Exactly.
That's very interesting. That's very
Yes.
interesting. So when you joined the military, you volunteered to be in urban school. What inspired you to do that?
So when I first went to basic training, I wasn't really sure about passing because I wasn't like physically fit, mentally I wasn't there, But when I got to basic, like the first couple of weeks, I adapted like real quick, and that made me realize that I can go beyond the limits that I set for myself. So when I completed basic combat training, I went to my AIT, my advanced individual training. That's where you learn your job. So when I went to my AIT, that's when we were approached by a recruiter. So they talked to us about different schools like Ranger School, Airborne School, And I thought about it, and I remember watching movies, you know what I'm saying,
People
like
jumping out of
seeing
planes.
people jumping out of planes. I was like, that's kind of cool, And like I just decided to volunteer for airborne school because I didn't have it in my contract. So there's like two different ways you can get. I think two different ways you can get like airborne school. You can either get it on your contract when you join in, or you can volunteer for it when you go to AIT. And then they do have like a little selection they do during AIT. They look at your PT scores, discipline, or whatever, something like that, and then they select people based on that. And then after AIT, I went to airborne school in Fort Benning, Georgia. So I did my basic and AIT in Fort Leonard Wood, that's in Missouri.
Okay.
And then after my after AIT, I shipped to Fort Benning, Georgia to do airborne school.
Nice.
Yes.
Being in airborne or being airborne, how do you want to talk about it? How did it challenge you mentally and physically?
Okay, so airborne school wasn't as challenging as basic training.
Okay.
Because I think the fact that it wasn't challenging is because I was already like used to the routine. You know, so an airborne school, it's 3 weeks long. You know, first week is ground week, second week is tower week, third week and final week is jump week. That's the week you actually jump out of planes, you know. So I'm not gonna go into details on, you know what I'm saying, like the whole journey.
Out of the sky. This guy right here.
So I'm not gonna get into all of that, you know. I'm not gonna get into the whole airborne school process, what to expect or whatever, because that's not what we're talking about here. But anyways, it wasn't physically challenging like that because the only thing you had to do was to pass a PT test, which I already did pass in basic training, and I also passed it in during my AIT. So I was conditioned to pass that. So I passed that, you gotta do like some pull-ups and hold it for like, I forgot if it's 15 seconds or 30 seconds. So
do the pull-up and
yeah, like you do a pull-up and you hold yourself up there. I forgot how many seconds it is. I think it's like probably 15 or 20. I may be wrong. I'm not sure. So that's all you gotta do, and it is a lot of running during airborne school. You run wearing your boots, you know, helmet. You gotta run everywhere. If you're going to eat, you gotta run to go to eat. After you eat, you gotta run to go back to the barracks. So that was like, yes, something like that. So it wasn't like really something like basic training where they have to smoke you like every day.
Yeah.
You know,
it's more relaxing.
It's more
basic.
Yeah, it's more relaxing, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. I think basic training is the hardest part of being in the military.
Yes.
If you can get past that,
right,
you can get past anything else. I think. At least from my experience.
Not necessarily. There are some tough schools out there, you know.
They are definitely.
Yeah. So,
but I think the challenge, like mentally at least, basic training is the hardest part. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been to many schools, but
I mean, I can agree to that. And the challenge part of airborne school, the most challenging part of airborne school, is actually at least for me, was to confront my fear of heights.
Okay.
You know,
I bet.
Yes. That was something that I didn't really think about how I'm gonna feel when I jump out of a moving aircraft. I didn't think about it before I went over there.
You didn't
think
that you would be jumping out of a
I just went, you know. But first, before you jump from an actual moving aircraft, you have to jump from a 34-foot tower. So they have a tower where you rigged on a cable and you gotta jump out first in order to experience what it is like to jump from certain heights. So I did that first. That was scary because you're standing 34 foot up and you gotta jump out. You see like open space, you see the ground. So that was the first time I experienced my fear of heights.
Okay.
And then after we passed like the tower week, went into actually like jumping from a moving aircraft. After my first jump, I came back to the barracks. I was like, nah, this is not for me. I'm not doing it. I don't know why I'm here, But then I realized that I didn't come this far to be mediocre, so I just push it through, pushed it through, completed my 5 jumps, and graduated airborne school. Yes.
And you later became a jump master.
Yes.
What is that role, and what leadership role did you learn from it?
So jump masters are paratroopers that are responsible for airborne operations. So they're the ones that's gonna JMPI your equipment. JMPI means jump master personnel inspection, I believe. I might be wrong with the P, but it's some type of inspection that a jump master has to do on every jumper before they get into the plane and before they jump out.
Okay.
So a jump master is responsible for that. A jump master is also responsible for all the operations that's happening inside the aircraft. They are responsible for making sure the drop zone is safe, for making sure the wind is actually good to go, because if the wind is at certain knots, people cannot jump out of the plane because you're gonna end up with a lot of injuries.
So basically, as a jump master,
Yes.
you are an expert in airborne. You've been there, you know what the safeties are,
Yes.
what to look for.
Yes.
You make sure that the next people that are coming, they're safe while they're jumping.
Yes, like you actually like train paratroopers, because before every jump, you have to remind them of the pre-jump. There's whole pages you gotta memorize in order to become a jump master. So, and every time you have paratroopers that are going to jump out of planes, they need to rehearse on how to exit the aircraft, what to do in the air, how to conduct emergency landings, and things like that. So a jump master is responsible for all of that.
That's nice.
Yes.
It's really good. So after the military, you're like, I don't want to be active duty in the military anymore. I'm not be a reservist. We join the National Guard and be a police officer. Why did you go through those changes? Why did you decide to go through that?
So at first I wanted to make the army a career. I wanted to do like 20 years, but then my first contract wasn't really great.
Okay.
So I went through some mental challenges while I was on active duty.
Okay.
So because of that, I decided I don't want to leave I don't want to leave the army completely. So I can have like one foot in, one foot out. I decided to join the National Guard and see if my mind was gonna change in the meantime, and see if I can go back on active duty. So that's how I ended up deciding to when my contract was up, I decided not to renew it, not to extend my contract. So I decided to ETS out of active duty and then join the Maryland National Guard.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Do you feel like your experience in the military, how did it shape your role as a police officer? How did you approach your role as a police officer, because you've been in the military?
Yes, I would say you learn a lot, in the military, in the army. I'm gonna speak for the army because that's what I know. You're gonna learn a lot, like beginning with basic training. They instill discipline in you. They teach you things that you normally don't really know, that a lot of people don't know. So they condition you physically. You gotta do a lot of things. You gotta work under stress. So working under stress kind of prepares you for real life.
Yeah.
So even if you stress, you still gotta push it through.
Right.
So whatever the army taught me when I was there, that's like I carried it when I got out.
Okay.
So I kept that discipline in me. I kept the courage, like personal courage, which is one of the army values.
Right.
So I carried that with me. Duty, understanding like the sense of duty, which is another army value too. Understanding like the sense of that kind of helped me shape my future path when I left active duty. Yes.
Interesting. Good to know that the army shaped you.
Yes.
Young boy from Dinguiraye.
Yeah.
I know you.
Ding City, you guys say Ding City, yeah.
Ding City.
Ding City, yeah.
I know you did deploy in Poland in 2022.
Okay.
What was your experience like, and how did it shape you, your personality?
Personality wise, I think that deployment just reinforced my character, reinforced my resiliency, my personal courage, I would say, because when you're in the army, you constantly like training for something like that.
Yeah.
So when we were notified that we were being deployed, it wasn't really like a surprise to me, because we always train for that. Like you're always in the field, whether it's cold, whether it's hot. So we already did like the training necessary in order for us to deploy like worldwide.
Right.
So yeah, it was cold in Poland when we got there. First couple of days, probably slept in the field for a few days. It was cold, but we were kind of used to it because we did some cold weather training. We used to do that. So yeah, I would say it was challenging because you're away from family, you're away from your usual social life. But beside that, it was a great experience.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. To go from, again, Dinguiraye, so working at Wendy,
Yes.
Walmart,
Yeah.
to being in the U.S. Army, becoming a jump master and all. It's an amazing experience, and could I say,
Thank you.
good job.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Let's say when you look at your journey from, again, Dinguiraye to serving in the U.S. Army and becoming a police officer, right? What are you most proud of?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I would say I'm very proud that I'm able to provide for my family. I have two little sisters. I go to school in Guinea right now.
Okay.
Like I'm really grateful that the fact that I can provide for them,
Yeah.
and my mom, my dad, and like the whole extended family, So I'm glad that I'm able to do that. That's like, I would say that's like the proudest thing that I can really like think of right now. And also me being here, having served in the U.S. Army, which fast-tracked my citizenship, I was able to apply for my parents to come to the United States. My mom is here right now. She's been here a year now. My dad is on the way, and my sisters hopefully will be here soon too, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yes.
That's amazing. You are a very nice, I don't know, big brother.
Thank
I
you.
don't know, big brother. That's good. I didn't know you
Thank
had
you.
two sisters.
Yeah, I have two sisters.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. And what advice would you give to new immigrants who are trying to build a life and find their path in the United States?
New immigrants.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, so if you here, you don't have your papers yet, meaning a green card, if you don't have that, do whatever you can to survive. Save your money. If you can invest, and follow the law. Do not commit any crimes. Do not don't do anything stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Be
don't do
smart.
anything illegal.
Be smart.
Be like, right, yes, like be smart, be a law-abiding citizen, and do what you have to do to survive. But if you have a green card and you don't know what to do, if you know what to do, that's great. Go ahead, do whatever you have to do, follow your dreams, follow your path, and do whatever you want to do. This is a country of opportunity.
Yeah.
But I'm not a recruiter. I'm not recruiting for the military, but I would say give it at least a try. Give it a try. Join, serve at least one contract if you want. If you like it, you can extend it. If you don't like it, you can get out. But do it. They have great benefits. I'm just gonna stop right there because I'm not recruiting, so I'm not getting paid to do this. You know what I'm saying?
To that point,
So, yeah.
I think it's a good advice. If you know what you want, because some of us come here, we already have family members here that help shape us. We come here already knowing what we want to do. But there are also some of us that come, we don't have any family, we don't have anybody to guide us. So yes, if you don't know what you want, you don't know what your path is, it should be, I guess. The military is the closest thing you can do because they will help shape you. You might not know what you want or what you want to become before you join the military, but I promise you, even if it's just one time that you do, you will know what you want.
Of course. And also to add to that, it's also a way to give back to the country that gave you so much.
It is.
So yes,
It is.
if you don't have no reason to join, just join because you're here, you're grateful
You're
to
grateful.
be here. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
As you're sitting here right now,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to your young self?
A young self. Wow. That's a great question. So I'm not gonna pretend like I've made it. I haven't.
We haven't.
I'm far away from that.
We haven't. We're
But
trying.
an advice that I would give myself is to just follow your dreams.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do as long as it benefits you and doesn't harm you or harm someone else. So just keep doing what you want to do. And even if you're wrong down the line, but at least you tried.
Yep.
So like keep doing whatever you think is necessary for you to grow. Like, personally, I think you should do it. You're like, we're not doing a commercial here, but just like Nike, just do it.
Just do it. Get
Just
out and do it.
Just do it.
Yeah. On a different note, what does the American dream mean to you right now?
The American dream, the so-called dream, man.
The so-called American dream.
I would say the American dream is, at least to me, it's not like becoming rich or wealthy. The American dream is actually, how I see it, having a house, being able to provide for a family, being financially independent. What else? Like just being free, you being able to get up today and be like, I want to go to, I don't know, to the Canary Islands. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Go to the moon.
yeah, like I want to do this, I want to do that. That might require like wealthy money, but I think I'm not really like I'm not excited about wealth. I'm excited about being financially independent, being able to provide for my family, having like a comfortable life. That's what I'm excited about. Yes. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question about the American dream, but that's how I see it.
That's your American dream.
Okay.
That's your
how I see
American
it.
dream.
That's how I see it.
So you mentioned that you have younger sisters.
Yes.
Too. I don't know how old they are, but if they were to watch this video years from today, years from now, what would you want them to retain from it?
Okay. So first, my first sister is 23.
Oh.
Second one is 20.
They're not too young.
Yeah, they're not too young. So, one thing I would like them to remember from this video would probably be just trust the process. Believe in God, believe in Allah, because it wouldn't be possible without Him. So it's not your strength, it's not your courage, it's not your background or whatever you can think of. It's not that can push you through life. So I believe it's God's hands with your own courage. So you gotta make effort in order for Him to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Hey,
Yeah.
big brotherly advice.
Yeah.
Thank
big
you.
bro. Big bro.
All right.
Yeah.
I hear that police officers
Mhm.
is done it. Is that true or false? You guys have to eat donuts.
You know why we eat donuts?
That's
Because they're free.
they're free when you go to Dunkin'
I
Donuts.
listen DC, not Dunkin' Donuts. I'm not sure about Dunkin' Donuts.
Whatever.
But you go to a 7-Eleven in DC, they give you donuts for free. You can have free coffee.
Oh, really?
I never bought a donut in DC, so I don't know.
I guess.
That's probably why.
You can live up to that.
It's a stereotype that we eat donuts, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, you don't have time to eat lunch. Go into 7-Eleven, get you some donuts, and you move on.
That's it.
Charlie Mike.
Well,
Yeah.
that's all. I think I will close it interview here. What is one last word you're gonna leave us with?
One last word. Just trust the process and believe in God. That's it. Believe in God, trust the process. Do what makes you happy. Always do things that elevate you. Always do things that can better your life. And just keep doing that. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, try something else.
Try something else.
Yes.
Keep trying.
Yeah. One thing about trying is you can at least say I tried it.
Don't give up.
Yeah, do not.
Well, thank you again for being your guest.
Thank you so much.
It will be a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you for having me, Halima.
Anytime.
All right.